This historical segment is a summation of the article The Psychology Behind People-Pleasing, written by Marissa Moore and overviewed by Dr. Jennifer Littner. I'll leave a link in the description below. People-pleasers are individuals who often disregard their own needs to please others and may have challenges distinguishing their likes, dislikes, and hobbies from another person. Knowing their true desires, wishes, and goals may be hard for them, as they may also have difficulty saying no or they say yes to things they don't want to do. People-pleasers will often go to great lengths to be liked, avoid disagreements, and mitigate the feeling that they will be abandoned, which can often lead to resentment and relationship burnout, leaving the person experiencing it feeling drained and exhausted. If you exhibit people-pleasing behaviors, you may also be prone to experiencing other mental health conditions such as depression and anxiety. People-pleasing behaviors are the actions a person takes that prioritize others over themselves. If you exhibit people-pleasing behavior, you may notice potential behaviors such as making attempts to avoid abandonment, conforming to harmful behaviors, disregarding your self-interests for the sake of others, experiencing anxiety about perceived abandonment, attempting to maintain closeness by self-sacrificing, telling others what they want to hear to avoid conflict, accepting invitations to do things you may not want to do, having challenges with advocating your own needs, exhibiting a lack of personal boundaries, perceiving that you're likable only if you continue to meet another's needs, apologizing excessively to others, rarely expressing criticism, and rarely disagreeing with others. People-pleasing can often be a response to trauma or other life experiences. You may have heard of fight, flight, or freeze, but some people exhibit fawning in response to complex trauma. Fawning is people-pleasing to settle conflicts and maintain the approval of others in relationships. It can also be linked to emotional dependency, which occurs when a person has unmet psychological needs that they may try to satisfy within close interpersonal relationships. Reducing people-pleasing behaviors takes time and effort. Since people-pleasing often can begin in childhood as a reaction to people who aren't emotionally safe, you may consider working with a mental health professional to reduce people-pleasing behaviors. Some other tips for reducing people-pleasing behaviors include reflecting on your desires, wants, and needs rather than focus on what others want, learning to set limits with others about what you will and won't tolerate, saying yes to things you want to do, declining invitations to engage in harmful behaviors, speaking up when something is bothering you, and finding hobbies you enjoy. These tips may help you gain independence and confidence in yourself. You can learn how to express your wants and needs in a healthy way. As someone who has tried to work out my people-pleasing behavior throughout the entirety of my known life, it was exciting to see a subject like this dissected on the big screen. Bob Trevino Likes It centers around a young woman who searches for her estranged father, Bob Trevino, online and forms a bond with a different man of the same name. Through this, she gains experience standing up for herself and strengthening the relationships that she already has. I came into this film with high expectations, seeing the reviews and also its accolades winning the jury prize at the South by Southwest Film Festival last year. I live in Austin, so obviously it's the festival of the year in this town, and I try to support Austin film whenever I can. I'm also a fan of John Leguizamo to an absurd degree. I just for some reason like everything about him. He's so personable and funny, and he has a very unique voice among actors. If you're interested in him more, I highly suggest you check out Latin History for Morons, a one-man Broadway show he did a few years ago that was filmed and put on Netflix. It's really what changed my opinion of him, although of course I do love him as Sid the Sloth in Ice Age. I mean, who doesn't? But really, the biggest standout from this film, and someone I'm really excited to see more of in the future, has to be Barbie Ferreira, who gave an incredibly emotionally resonant performance. She was funny and charming when she had to be, but when it came to the difficult stuff, the melodrama, she proved herself absolutely capable of giving the kind of despair that was needed for the film to succeed. Her work in dialogue, whether it was with Leguizamo or her father in the movie French Stewart, was expertly handled and made each scene flow effortlessly. French Stewart, by the way, a great character actor playing a great character here. These actors were certainly good, but I do have some issues when it comes to the way this story was written. One of my biggest gripes as a writer is when the characters in a story say exactly what they mean, because it robs the audience of their ability to dig deeper in the material, and it robs the director of adding extra layers in the dialogue. People-pleasing is a great conflict, to be sure, but it felt like in some cases it was the only conflict, which is not conducive to real life. I'm able to understand that her people-pleasing tendencies come from her narcissistic father, but in a way he is so outlandishly difficult that it begins to undercut the message. Of course, this movie is written and directed by Tracy Lehman, and it's based on a true story, so maybe he was really this narcissistic in real life. At the same time, though, it seemed like the conflict and message were a little too simple. Ferriera is shown as a chronic pleaser, she meets Leguizamo, and she learns and gets better. In my experience, life doesn't go from A to B to C like that. Is it satisfying? Yes, it can be, but I don't think something like that offers a message you can take with you in your day-to-day life. The characters and dialogue actually reminded me a lot of Judd Apatow's style of filmmaking in that it's these dialogue-driven dramedies which do a good job of making conversation, but end in very easy conclusions. The problem I have with this, though, is that it can make for something good in the short run, but in the long run, how much is this really going to stick with you? And so I'm looking at a film with Judd Apatow-style writing, which puts less of an emphasis on the comedy, so to me this film was well acted, but unfortunately forgettable. I thought very little of the extracurriculars, the lighting, the set design, and whatnot, because none of them much stood out to me. Essentially, a film like this is built to have some normal aesthetic, but my two thoughts to that approach are A, the film is supposed to see the beauty wherever it goes, so it should try harder to utilize the landscape and what makes it pretty, and B, that normalcy is overrated in the first place. What matters in film is being authentic to the characters and using the surrounding area to enhance that interpretation. By refusing to go above and beyond in these technical areas, this film really hampers itself from what it could end up being. One thing that specifically upset me was the music. I think film scores are among my favorite aspect of film analysis because they are, in my opinion, an art that is almost individual from the actual process and also a support of it. Editing, for example, is directly tied to the film. You cannot separate it. You can't just pull acting away and only look at that. The only two parts of film which are their own separate art form are screenwriting and music, one of which is considered far more important than the other when it comes to the end product, and I'm inclined to agree, writing is more important. But I'm going on this whole soliloquy to say that people tend to vastly underappreciate music's importance to cinema and how powerful it can be. And that's to say, I was quite underwhelmed with the effort put forward here musically. It was very similar to the writing in that the music used very conventional tropes to tell you exactly what the characters are thinking. Now you may be thinking, isn't that the point of it, to support the characters' emotions? And I would say yes, maybe, sort of, kind of, but I find it a waste of space when you just reiterate what the actors are already saying on screen. Music. The beauty of music in film is to offer thematic ideas that may be present under the surface as a way of adding a layer of complexity to the emotion. There are some things that music can bring to the table which no other art form can, some raw feeling indistinguishable from anything else. So when a film wastes their chance to use that, I just find it a damn shame. I find it that way with all the technicals, really, that each of them bring their own unique element which makes the film more complex. When you forget to utilize these things, the story on screen just becomes unbearably simple. Which is a shame, because like I said, Barbie Ferriera gave an excellent performance which elevated the role she had. And because she was the lead, she was able to mask a lot of these issues I had with the final product. But I just didn't find the direction all that compelling at the end of the day. There were certain establishing shots which I found quite beautiful, but that's pretty much where the compliments end when it comes to shot composition. Other than that, I very rarely found an angle that I thought was unique or interesting. It all seemed like things that any other director could have thought of. I wanted to like this movie, I really did. And it's not like I didn't like it, but it's a film that I probably won't be going back to all that often other than its central theme. I'm going to give it a Franklin for now, although who knows, there are many people who like this film, so if the trailers are doing it for you, go ahead and go with your gut and check it out. I'm clearly in the minority here. Before I go, I just want to say a quick thank you for watching this video. It means a lot, especially for a small channel, for you to like and subscribe or to comment. Whether you liked the video or didn't, I just feel happy that you decided to watch as much of it as you did, and if you want more videos like this, there's a whole library of film reviews that you may want to check out. So, if you liked this movie, if you didn't like this movie, let me know what you think. I know many members of my audience are far smarter than I am, so I'm always looking for more interesting ways to analyze media. In the meantime, I will see you in the next video, and I wish you the best on your demons today.